Hey everyone, Pete Calandra here. Studying harmony and learning new harmonic vocabulary has been a long-time interest of mine. This interest comes in two flavors, the theoretical and the practical. Understanding harmonic concepts on an intellectual level can help you if you are composing music where you can take the time to calculate your harmonic activity. The practical flavor comes in how much vocabulary you have in your fingers. This practical flavor is the one that is of most interest to me, as I am both a composer and a keyboard player. As someone who is also interested in improvising, I find the more I can execute differing harmonic activity, the better my performance is. I spend time almost every day practicing harmony. I started doing this as a college student when we were required to be able to play all sorts of four-part harmonic exercises assigned by my teachers in all 12 keys as part of keyboard harmony classes. These classes were taken by all music students, even if they were not pianists, as having basic knowledge of the piano keyboard is helpful no matter what instrument you play. When I took jazz arranging classes with Jimmy Heath, a master jazz musician as a tenor sax player, he could sit at the piano and harmonize any melody in multiple voices and in multiple ways. My practice is to spend about 20 minutes, 5 or 6 times a week, drilling different concepts into my fingers. I do each hand separately and then spread the exercises out between 2 hands. The topic I want to talk about today is secondary sevenths. If you like this video, give a thumbs up. For more content, please subscribe, and to be notified, ring that bell. Please leave any comments down below. There is a link in the description box to this PDF, and if you'd like to help out the channel, you can also buy me a cup of coffee. There's also a link down below for that. Thanks so much for watching, and let's get right into it. What is a secondary seventh? A secondary seventh is an added seventh chord built on any degree of the scale except the dominant. The dominant seventh is the only primary seventh chord. In our exercises, we'll include the 5/7 chord to keep the pattern going. I'm assuming that you guys all know your major and minor scales and you know your triads. With that, we can take a look here at what we've got. So right here, we have the key of C major, and we'll be doing everything in the key of C major here today, but you really should play these in all 12 keys. So if we look at a C major scale, and we play triads, we have a C major, D minor, E minor, F major, then the 5 would be a G major, the 6 is a minor, and the 7th is a diminished back to a major triad. If we add a 7th on all of those chords, a 7th from the bottom note, or the root, we get a major 7th on the C, the 2 chord would be a minor 7th, a D minor 7th, the 3 chord would be a minor 7th, E minor 7th, the 4 chord would be F major 7th, the 6 chord would be A minor 7, and the 7 chord would be B half diminished 7th. Now, the 7th chord built on the 5, or the 5th scale degree, is a G7. And then you'll notice here that there's melodic minor, very interesting, and then there's harmonic minor here, right? I left the G7 out of all of those. And then natural minor. What you want to do when you're practicing any new material is you want to break it down into small, bite-sized chunks that you can accomplish in a short period of time so that you have a bit of success and you can add on to that over days. One of the ways I practice this is to use in close position, which means that all of the chord tones are as close as can be. That's a short way of thinking about it. And I'm going to go through the circle of fifths with them, just moving tones stepwise. So if we look here, our first chord is a C major 7th in close position, C, E, G, and B. And if I take the top 2 notes and move them down by step in the scale, 1 step, I now have an F major 7th in second inversion. Now I take the bottom 2 notes and move them down stepwise in the scale, or in the key of C. I have my B half diminished 7th, and I continue this pattern all the way down. A minor 7th, minor 7th, G7, C major 7th, F major 7th, B half diminished 7th, E minor 7th, A minor 7th, D minor 7th, G 7th, and C major 7th. So let me play this without talking. I just played that in C, then I played it in G flat, and then I played it in A major, in A. So I can play that in all 12 keys with no problems because I've practiced it over and over again. That's with the first chord in root position. Now, if we look here, we are in the first inversion. So we've taken the C and we've transposed it up an octave, and we get this voicing. And then at this point, we're going to take the middle two notes, in this case, the G and the B, move them down by step in the key, and we have now F major 7th in third inversion. And then we move the outer two voices down a step, B half diminished in first inversion, and continue this pattern down. E minor 7th, A minor 7th, D minor 7th, G7, C major 7th, F major 7th, B half diminished 7th, E minor 7th, A minor 7th, D minor 7th, G 7th, and C major 7th. So let me play that without talking. Okay, so I just did that exercise in 3 different keys. I did it in C, the written key. I did it in E major, and then I did it in A flat major. And again, I can play that in all 12 keys at about that tempo, no problem. There are 2 more inversions, this one here, one with the 7th. But what I find is that if we, let's see, if we look at these, this starts off with the 5th as the lowest note on the C major triad. That's contained right here. So if you practice these 2, you also have this one, and with the one where the 7th is in the bottom note, you have it starting here. So efficiently, you really only need to practice these 2 versions, I think, to get everything in your fingers. One way to do this is just as I did it. After a while, that can get boring. So you'll want to do things that can increase your pianistic ability. Before that, I can also play this with my left hand, right? You should play one, get it down with your right hand, then play it with your left hand. Other things that you can do to make this interesting, as pianists, we always want to voice our chords, and we want to be able to make our 4th and 5th fingers, which is our pinky and ring fingers, be able to sing out with melodies. And in addition to learning the harmony, you can practice that with this. And the way that you would practice that first, all right, just to become aware of this and get sensitive to it, is to play the soprano voice and then add the rest of the chord, something like this. What I did the second time through was to emphasize the alto voice. And you can do the same with the tenor and with the bottom note. And this way you really start to hear all the different voices and you get used to being able to bring out different parts of the chord volume-wise when you're performing. Eventually what you'll do is to speed up when the second chord comes in. And then eventually you'll be able to play the chords as simultaneities and bring out that top voice. But you do a little bit at a time, even if you have to play it this slowly. Right? You want to make that first voice nice and solid. And the second one, all of the other three notes, you want to hear them all, but they're quieter. And you do this very relaxed, no tension. Okay, so let's say that it's Monday, right? You're going to spend 20 minutes and you've never done this before. And the thought of transposing it to other keys is overwhelming, daunting, frightening. Insert your own adjective. You only work on 3 keys. So you'll spend 10 minutes with your right hand and 10 minutes with your left hand. And you just get through as much as you can. If it ends up being 2 keys, that's fine. It's not a race. It's just a slow, steady acquisition and drilling of material. So you're going to do C. You can either go up chromatically or you could do the circle of fifths. So let's say I was going to do the circle of fifths. The first day, it would be C major, F major, and B flat major. So you would practice. You would say to yourself, okay, top 2 voices down, bottom 2 voices down in the key. Right? And you'd go through it. You do the same thing with F. Top 2 voices down a step in the key, then the bottom 2, then the top 2, then the bottom 2. Right? All the way down. And you just work it. So you spend 3 minutes on each key. That gives you 9 minutes. Then you do the same thing with your left hand, and that's 18 minutes, and you'll round it up to 20. You just stick with that for a few days, and you'll find that you get better as the time goes on. Now, you have to know all your scales, your major scales, to do this particular exercise. So you have to know all the notes in your major scale. You have to know that F major has B flat and B flat major has B flat and E flat. You spend a week doing this. Then the next week, you spend 5 minutes going through the first 3 keys in each hand. And that leaves you 10 minutes. So maybe you add 1 or 2 keys this week so that by the end of the week, you can get through 5 keys. Within a month, you keep doing this, you'll get better. You'll get quicker at it the more you do it. Adding new keys will be quicker to you. And what you should also pay attention to is the keys that seem to give you the most trouble. So if G flat gives you the most trouble, there may be a week where that's all you do is practice G flat. You just need to spend more time on the weakest parts of your performance and make them the strongest part. Do everything in time, slowly, carefully, with your hands relaxed, and use a very slow metronome. You could do quarter notes at 60 beats per minute. That's perfectly fine. Don't worry about speeding this up. You just want to be able to do it smoothly and in time. So if I was to play an F7 chord, so right here I've got in pretty wide spacing, F, E flat, and A, I can play the C melodic minor scale over that. And so I can also play right? I could play those melodically or you can do little figures like that. So I would say the major and the melodic minor are the 2 most important ones. And then the harmonic minor will get you some really nice, juicy sounding harmonies in there. Slow, consistent, detailed work. You'd be surprised with 20 minutes a day, 5 or 6 days a week, what kind of progress you can make with that. All right, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. I've been Pete Calandra. Again, like, subscribe, share, Again, comment. The PDF is linked down below. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee for this lesson, that's also linked down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.